we have discussed task 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the same manner, we have tried to understand what that task is. We have also discussed certain scenarios, minimum 3 scenarios for every task, what we might see in the exam, why this task important, and what should be the mindset in order to answer the questions. Same thing we will follow for today's discussion also, starting with task number 5. Okay. As the name suggests, it's about aligning the stakeholder expectations. Who are our stakeholders? We have discussed in the task 4. Anybody who holds the stake in the project is your stakeholder, which means anybody who can get impacted by the project or who could impact your project is a stakeholder for you. It is very important that we engage with them throughout the project so that we can keep them informed, understand what risk might happen, understand what issues might happen, what challenges might happen if they are thinking about any changes. So we need to build a good relationship with them. We need to keep all the stakeholders engaged throughout the project so that we can gain that benefit from engaging the stakeholders. Now, the task 5 talks about aligning stakeholder expectations. All the stakeholders, when you start talking to them about the project, they will have certain expectations. Right? I want this in red color. I want this in black color. I want this delivered in a week, in 2 weeks, in 5 weeks, something of that sort, right? Which we also call as requirements. So there are certain requirements and there are certain expectations. In people domain, when we think about it, we are talking about aligning the stakeholders' expectations in task number 5. Right? So if you talk about people domain, then this is task number 5 that we are talking about, which means there will be 3 more tasks left in our revision. What we have covered already is task 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I hope from our platform you have answered the questions from these tasks. We also had a session on Sunday where we discussed the doubts and everything. Right? If you have not already attempted task-wise questions, please go to the mock exam package and attempt minimum 10 questions from every task so that you can say to yourself that, yes, I am preparing in the right direction. I'm able to check my progress as well. Right? Today we'll be talking about 5th one. So same way, first we'll have an intro, then we'll discuss what are the essential actions by the project manager to ensure that we can align their stakeholder expectations. Then we'll discuss 3 scenarios. We'll try to understand what could be a good choice, what we should avoid, and then we'll discuss the mindset. Right? So aligning stakeholder expectations basically means creating a shared and realistic understanding. So we are trying to build a shared understanding about what we are building. So if I'm constructing a building, how many floors will be there? What would be the area? What would be the interior of it? What would be the exterior of it? Whatever I think is also what the stakeholder is thinking and is also what is there in the document. That is what is called aligning stakeholder expectations, building a shared understanding. Now think about it. When we say building a shared understanding, can we do it by just sharing the document? Not 100%. Right? You can share the document, people would understand it. Some people would understand, some people will not understand. There would be a gulf of evaluation. Gulf of evaluation basically means that whatever you want to convey is not what the other person understands. Okay, if you take an example, if I have to convey, let's say 10 points today, right? Not all of you will understand all the 10 points. Right? Somebody would understand 8, somebody would understand 7, somebody would understand 6. And I'm not talking about skills or anything of that. It is just that whenever communication happens, there is a gulf of evaluation. There is a gap in understanding whatever is being said. And it happens both ways. The person who is communicating would have a skill because of which they are not able to convey the points properly. The person who is listening also have their own skills because of which they're not able to understand everything that has been said. Right? So out of 10 points, 5, 6, 7 points is what people would understand. So what should we do? We should visit and revisit those points regularly. Right? You complete a training and then you attend sessions like this. Why? Because you want to recollect whatever was discussed. And when you look at the same thing in a different manner, you understand the complete picture of it. Right? That's why in training we cover from start to end of the project. In revisions, we are discussing task by task. Although we are discussing the same thing, but with different emphasis from a different angle. All right. Same thing you have to do in project also. Whenever you are talking about expectations, there would be some certain understanding, certain expectations from stakeholders. You will understand that. Based on that, you will create your own documents, requirements, and everything. Then you need to show it to the stakeholders. This is what we have understood. Can you verify this? They will ask you to make some changes. You make those changes. And then regularly, whenever stakeholder changes, whenever some change happens in the project, whenever you make progress in the project, you engage with those stakeholders and ensure that these expectations are well understood. Okay. So this aligning of stakeholder expectations is not a one-time activity. You need to do it multiple times throughout the project, and then there is a chance that you will be successful. There's no guarantee. All that we do is to improve our chances that we'll be successful. Okay. What type of expectations? What is it that the product will deliver? Why it matters? And what constraints in the project would affect the delivery? Okay. So idea from here is that aligning stakeholder expectations means whatever the stakeholder understands, whatever we understand, whatever the document says must be similar. And for that, we will have to put regular efforts. Now, why is it so important? During the discussion itself, you would have understood and you would have recollected whatever you already know, that if you align the stakeholders well, there would be a shared definition of success. You will know what success means. Other person will also know what success means. I typically use some simple examples. I'll just explain this. Assume that you have to get your house painted. For the painter, success means painting the house completely. Right? For you, it may mean painting plus cleaning the mess that the paintings will create. For you, it's obvious. You are making the mess, you would clean it. For the painters, it's obvious. I am a painter. I will only paint. I'm not a housekeeping guy to clean the mess. You should have had another person who would clean the mess. Right? You should have hired a housekeeper. I will not do it. See this? Because of the work that we do, because of the demography that we are in, because of the experience that we have had and the way of working, the definition of success could be very different unless and until it is very clearly mentioned, discussed, and aligned with everybody. Right? So aligning the stakeholder expectations will ensure that these kind of issues don't happen in the project. Right? Second is it prevents misunderstanding. It's almost the same thing, right? If you are building a shared understanding, it will prevent the misunderstanding. Saying the same thing in a different manner. Then it also supports better decision. See, when people are aligned, they would want the product to be successful. If they want the product to be successful, they would put extra effort to understand what is happening. They will put extra effort to learn about things, and they'll put extra effort to ensure that whatever decisions has been taken are better decisions in the project. And whenever you take decision, it should always be for the benefits of the project. Right? Not for the sponsor, not for one person in the team, not for the project manager. The decision should always benefit the project. Right? It also reduces conflict and resistance. Right? If you are aligning the stakeholder expectations, which means you are engaging a lot. If you are engaging a lot, you are meeting with them regularly. When you're meeting with them regularly, the team, the stakeholder, the customers would be aligned to what we are trying to achieve. Yes, there will be some difference of opinion, and those are important. There should be some difference of opinion, but you will see reduced disagreements, you will see reduced fights, you will see reduced resistance. That's why you should align the stakeholders' expectations. Right? And it also builds stakeholder confidence. Many times in the project, this is what is needed the most. Right? If stakeholders are not confident, they would trouble your team regularly. What's the update? What are you doing? Why are you not sharing this? Why are you not sharing that? Why is it happening? Because stakeholders are not confident that this team will be able to deliver it. So they want to intervene. And when they intervene, they frustrate the team. Right? So having that confidence among the stakeholders is very important to run your process smooth. Okay? Because when the stakeholders are confident, they would believe the CS team is doing, and they'll wait for weekend. They'll wait for month end to get the progress report from you, to get the updates from you, even if you're doing it at that frequency. Because they have that confidence that yes, the team is doing well. How will they build that confidence? Just by telling them, hey, have the confidence in me? No. right? You will have to show the work regularly. You will have to discuss with them regularly. You will have to engage with them throughout the project. You will have to align the expectations. That's when this confidence will be built. Many a times, if you don't have the process, if you don't have people working well, but if you have built the stakeholder confidence in the project, most of the things start running smooth. Okay, so this task indeed is very important. How would you do that? As a project manager, first categorize the stakeholders. Understand which stakeholder or which stakeholder group needs more attention, which stakeholder groups need less attention, who needs report in a certain fashion, who needs to be called for a site walkthrough, who needs to be shown the product, who only needs the PowerPoint presentation report, right? So for all those things, you will categorize the stakeholders when you are understanding the stakeholders better, right? Then you understand the expectations from all these stakeholder groups. Analyze if there are any gaps between the expectations, right? Then discuss whatever gaps that you have identified, discuss with the stakeholders and facilitate these discussions so that everything is aligned to expectations, the requirements of the project, the objective, vision, whatever you are working on. There should be a shared understanding among everybody, right? Also, use mentoring opportunities whenever required. Many a times it will happen that if you are using AI in the project, the stakeholders would not understand. If you are using Agile and the stakeholder does not belong to Agile approach, they have not seen Agile approach, it is happening for the first time, you may have to mentor them on what is happening in the project, how we are doing it, how Agile functions, why you are not showing them the schedule, why you are not showing them the progress. You will have to discuss all those things. Right? So as a project manager, in order to align the stakeholders' expectations, you would need to categorize the stakeholders, understand what category do they belong to, discuss with them to understand the expectations, figure out if there are any gaps, discuss with them, bridge those gaps, and whenever required, provide them the mentoring needed on the project. Okay, you don't have to provide mentoring on their career or anything. On the project, what is happening in the project? Why are we doing whatever we are doing? Right? So this is how you align the stakeholders' expectations. Now let us look at the scenarios. What we'll do is we'll discuss 3 scenarios. We'll try to understand and relate it to project scenarios, which is what you might see in the exam. And then we will discuss what would be a typical good option and what should we avoid. Okay. So in this case, if you see, the scenario says 2 influential stakeholders expect different outcomes or disagree about the project priorities. So there are 2 different expectations by 2 different influential stakeholders. Right? In such cases, what should we do? We should facilitate a discussion between the stakeholders. I think this is 5th task. I would have at least talked about this 10 times. If there is any disagreement, if there is any conflict, if there is any difference of opinion, if 2 people are not understanding or if 2 people are not on the same page, the best choice for you would be to facilitate a discussion between them. So the mindset is that whenever there is a misalignment of any sort in the project, the best thing the project manager can do is to bring all the relevant parties involved and discuss with them so that they can understand the underlying cause of it. In this case, because it is expectation, so you are understanding the underlying needs. Right? Once you have understood what they want, what they need, then match it with the project objectives and ensure that the stakeholders reach agreement. Right? It's very logical. In exam, it may be a little bit difficult to spot what they're talking about. Right? But with practice, of course, you will understand. The point is that when 2 people are having any sort of difference about scope or risk, about objective or the way of working, about anything, about the culture of the organization, anything, if there's a difference between 2 people, discuss with them together. Don't go and discuss one by one. Do not tell them what is to be done. Always try to facilitate discussion between them. That is a better choice. What you should not do is, as a project manager, saying that, okay, I will select the expectations. Okay, whoever is more senior, I'll go with them. Wrong. See, just because they are senior does not mean that they're right. Okay, or implementing both the requests without analysis. Okay, I have to keep both the stakeholders happy. Amit said that we should keep all the stakeholders engaged throughout the project, and hence I'll go with both the points. No, keeping the stakeholders engaged does not mean agreeing to everything. Keeping the stakeholder, aligning the stakeholders' expectations does not mean that we'll do both. We have to align the expectations. If one person says A, one person says B, we have to discuss and then decide whether it should be A, it should be B, or it should be C. But whatever it is decided, both have agreed to it. Right? So we never have to go with both the requests. Also, escalating, as we have discussed, is the last resort. Right? So this is also something that we discuss regularly. Whenever you see escalation in an option, be very critical about it. Have we done everything before we escalate? Right? So I would rather facilitate a discussion, discuss with the stakeholders, understand their needs, match it with the objectives, and then try to reach agreement, then escalate it to the sponsor. What will the sponsor do? Same thing. So why will I not do it? Okay. Second scenario is a stakeholder expects additional functionality, an earlier completion date, or an outcome that is inconsistent with the approved project constraints. Right? In the previous scenario, we discussed that two stakeholders are not aligned. Here we are discussing that the stakeholders' expectation is not aligned to a particular document. It could be anything. It could be the schedule, it could be the budget, it could be the scope, it could be anything. Right? So the point is, if the stakeholder is not aligned to whatever has been approved, what would you do? Right? Typically, you would meet with that stakeholders, take the document with them, clarify the expectations, present whatever that document information says, and collaboratively align the expectations with the objectives and constraints. Tell them that our project has this particular goal, our project has this particular objective. You are taking it in a different direction. So bring your expectations to match the objectives. Okay. If at all you realize that the expectations of the stakeholder itself is better than the objective that we have decided, or better than the document that we have created, or we need to change the document. In such cases, process of formal change. Okay. So first you would try to meet the stakeholders, show them the documents, show them the schedule, show them the approval of whatever it is, and tell them that you are thinking it wrong. Okay, not this bluntly, that will not be there in the PMP exam option, but whichever option says that you are going to talking to them and telling them that this is not aligned to the document would be a correct choice. Right? But in some cases, it may happen that you have to revise the document itself because whatever the stakeholder was saying was beneficial for the project. In such cases, process the formal change, which is called integrated change control, and change the document to align it to the stakeholders' expectations. What you should avoid? Do not make any unsupported commitment. Oh, sir, definitely will do that. Right? Typically, we see that happening in sales and marketing. Right? We handle execution, we handle project management. Right? So we don't have to make any unsupported commitment. Unsupported commitment means if you have not analyzed, if you have not understood how much delay would be there, if you have not understood what would be the impact on the project, don't make any commitment. Just because it could be a key stakeholder. So just because the stakeholder is a key stakeholder, don't agree to them with everything. And definitely do not make a commitment if you have not analyzed. Okay. Also, you don't have to reject the request immediately. So first discuss, analyze, and then either reject it or accept it. Don't do any of these things without analysis. Okay. Changing the plan, definitely you cannot do that. As a project manager, you created the plan with your team and got it approved by the management. So if the plan is to change, you must take the approval again. Right? So you cannot change the plan informally. Right? Next is scenario number 3. A stakeholder repeatedly delays the decisions and provides unsuitable direction because they do not understand project governance or their responsibility. See, the same situation you will see in a different way in the project. Right? You are managing traditional approach project, the stakeholder is asking you agile ways of thing. You are managing agile approach project, they are discussing traditional ways of thing. Right? They are not aware of what the approach is. They are not aware of the progress that they are making, and they are demanding something different. right? So basically what is happening is that the stakeholder is not aware of how the project is being managed, and that's why they are not able to take decisions on time. What should be done? We should clarify the stakeholders' role and organized suitable mentoring or guidance to help them perform it effectively. See, mentoring does not mean you are teaching the stakeholder how to be a stakeholder. Right? Mentoring basically means that you are discussing the project related information, project related roles and responsibilities, project related expectations from stakeholders, right? And you're mentoring them throughout the project. Whenever something changes, you help them understand it. The more the stakeholders understand, the faster they'll take decisions. What should be avoided? Do not start carrying out the responsibilities that stakeholder is supposed to do. Right? Whether it is team doing the work, not able to do it, you don't go and start doing the team's work. Product owner is not able to prioritize, you don't go and prioritize a product backlog. Vendors are not providing certain things, vendors management is not able to manage their team, you don't go and manage the vendors team. Right? Management is not able to take decisions, you don't start taking decisions. Stakeholder is not able to approve something, take decisions on time, you don't start taking that, right? Every role has defined responsibilities. They should be able to handle that. Your role is to ensure that they are meeting the responsibilities. Right? So do not select any choice that says that you will be taking over the stakeholder responsibility, or it will say that you will be doing it yourself because stakeholder is busy. Right? Also, you do not exclude them from any decisions, and definitely you don't escalate their behavior immediately. Right? So we discussed three scenarios. One is where two stakeholders were not aligned. Second, in which the stakeholder was not aligned to something that was approved. And in third, we discussed that a stakeholder is not able to take decisions because of this misalignment. They don't understand things. So start providing the mentorship. When two stakeholders are not aligned, discuss with both of them. When a stakeholder is not aligned with the document, bring that document to the stakeholder, discuss with them, get it aligned. When the stakeholder is not clear about anything about the project, set up a meeting, try to mentor them, guide them, help them understand the project so that they can understand and they will not make these delays. Right? So typically, I think these are the three scenarios. Here and there, two sentences up and down is what you will see in the exam. Okay. Ultimately, this is what they will be testing, whether you are able to select these kind of options and whether you are able to reject these kind of options in the exam or not. Okay. What would be the mindset that will help you in answering these questions? We have discussed all these mindset. I'm just presenting it one more time. Right? Identify the expectations before trying to align them. When you don't understand what are the two different expectations, you cannot align it. Second, facilitate rather than dictate. Facilitate means calling them in a meeting and helping them talk about it, helping them discuss about it, rather than you're calling a meeting, but you're telling them what is to be done. Right? That would be dictating, that would be ordering. You should not do that. Then align expectations with project objectives. Ensure that whatever decisions are being taken, whatever is the understanding in somebody's mind, it should always be meeting the project objective because that's what ultimately we want to achieve. Then be transparent about constraints and trade-offs. Okay, there would be many cases where you will not have the complete freedom to take whatever decision that you want to take because of limited budget, limited resources, limited time. Those are called constraints. Right? Trade-offs are basically whenever you say that, okay, we have two choices, A and B, we are going ahead with A and we are not doing B. This is like a trade-off. We'll not do this, we'll do this. Uh, we'll reduce the timeline by adding the resources. These are called trade-offs, right? So whenever you're trying to balance the constraints through trade-offs, absolutely be transparent. Right? Tell them that you're adding resources to reduce the time. So it will hit the cost. Tell them that you are rearranging the schedule activities. So it may include a lot of risk. Right? Be transparent about it. People would appreciate that and people would help you in project also. Then use mentoring before escalation whenever appropriate. Right? Always try to guide people, always try to teach people, always try to train people if they don't understand anything before taking any harsh decision or before escalating it to any third party. Okay. This is what aligning expectations consist of. Right? I would request you can go to our mock exam package, go to task people domain, task number 5, right? And attempt some 10 questions, right? On Sundays, we typically meet for our discussions. So bring those questions, whatever doubts that you have, and we'll clarify those doubts. For now, let's move to task number 1.6. But before that, if there's any question, let's take that. Any question from this task? Anyone?
Hi Amit, I have one
Yeah,
question.
please.
Yeah, actually, I was solving some questions from task number 3, 4,
Hmm.
but I see some questions from this task over there. There was a question set of 70 questions,
Yes. See,
and
it'll happen.
like,
Some of the tasks are interconnected. Okay. So whatever tasks that you see, these are basically project manager's responsibility, right? So these responsibilities cannot be mutually exclusive.
yeah,
Okay. These cannot be mutually exclusive. Leading a team also means managing conflict. Right? Engaging stakeholders is in a way aligning the expectations, is in a way managing the expectations. So yeah, you will see those uh, interconnected tasks. So you may feel okay, this question is particular, this task is question could be of that task, which is fine. Okay. What we have done is we have done our best of categorization. So you could trust that and you can just continue. Whichever question that you do from the platform, it will help you in your preparation.
yeah, okay. And how to stop on 10, 15 questions when it is starting? Because this is set
Currently,
up,
yeah, currently that is not possible. So what you can do is you can submit it, okay, and see your
okay,
solution. Then come back and take the test. Skip the first 10 questions that you have done and start with 11. Then again submit. Check only from 11 to 15, 11 to 20, 11 to 30. You can do it that way.
yeah,
There are
okay,
five
okay.
attempts possible for every test.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
understood.
you can break
Because
your.
I see this mentoring, I saw that mentoring question was in the task number 3, and I was
Mm.
okay, no
Because
problem. Thank you.
it's a leader team, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So when you are leading the team, you may want to mentor them as well. So these things will be there. See, it's not, as I said, it's not mutually exclusive, which means it does not mean that this task only means this task. It is aligned. As a project manager, you'll have to do everything. But when you are studying, you should know that yes, I have covered all the 35 tasks. That's why we 26 tasks. That's why we discussed that.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Any other question? Anyone? Okay. If not, then let's move to the second task, which is also very similar. One was aligning the stakeholder expectation. This is managing the stakeholder expectations.